We've got tips and recipes for healthy living. So for fun and inspiration, come and join us in the raw food world.
Welcome everybody, this is Matt Monarch with the Raw Food World TV show, and today is Tuesday, July 14th, and we're in Brighton, Michigan. And I have the most ultimate special guest you can ever imagine. It is Joyce Oliveto.
Hey, hi everybody.
How are you today?
I'm great. It's just wonderful to have you guys here.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
loving it.
Thank you. Well, check this out, guys. Joyce Oliveto worked hand in hand with Ann Wigmore. Is that true?
It's true. I had an amazing experience with her. Met her in 1980, and we became close friends. Like, I'm sure she took several people under her wing, and I was very, very fortunate to be mentored by her and spent a lot of time with her. And we've done workshops right here together with Dr. Ann in my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many years did you work with her for?
Well, I met Dr. Ann in 1980 when I went into Hippocrates because I had a health challenge, pretty serious health challenges, and that was 1980. So at that time, you know, you read the books, you wonder, and of course it changed my life. It was a profound experience. I did a 360-degree turn in how I lived my life, how I thought about life, how I thought about myself, God, people, the planet. As we all know, we go through these amazing experiences when we become raw. And I got to get very close with Ann. I studied with her, I traveled with her, and then it was about in the mid-'80s when Don Hoy asked me to be the director of Creative Health Institute, and so that's out in Coldwater, Michigan, and it used to be Hippocrates Midwest.
Did you do that?
I did. I was the director for 86 and 87, 1986 and 1987, and when I became the director, the funds were really, really low. Winter was coming in, and people weren't just coming in. There just was no guests. So I called up Dr. Ann. I said, "Look, we got to get this thing going." And I planned. I brought her in. She flew in. We planned it all. We did 3 weeks of traveling in Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan, and we traveled for 3 weeks promoting Creative Health Institute, and we got very close. It was very special. Had some very special times together. We used to, we did meetings in talks in Lansing. We went to cable stations. Back then it was more cable, you know. And so I remember one time Dr. Ann was very funny, okay? She was very funny. I know if you don't know her, you can't realize how funny she was, but she was.
Ann Wigmore.
Ann Wigmore, okay. Dr. Ann Wigmore. So I remember one time going into a cable station, getting ready for a TV interview, and we had our trays. She had a tray of wheatgrass, I had a tray of sunflower greens, and Dr. Ann always wore strawberry essential oil. And if you were 10 feet away from Dr. Ann, you could smell her strawberry essential oil. And she wore beet juice on her cheeks.
As makeup, right?
Yeah.
That was her makeup.
And the girl at the other end of the counter, we were checking in, and she goes, "Oh my gosh," she's looking at the wheatgrass and the sunflower. She said, "It smells like strawberries." And Dr. Ann winks at me, and she goes, "Yeah, it does, doesn't it, dear?" She was a comic. She was a very amazing, energetic person, and we just had some special times together. I was in Boston with her as she put together the Health Practitioners Program. We worked on that together, and I know Dr. Ann took several people under her wing, and we were all so fortunate. And yeah, you know, and her one of her biggest wishes was to see that the world would understand that anybody that learned from her would take what they learn and continue to teach it, so that it would keep going on, and that back then, one of her dreams was that she hoped that all of the people that learned from her would teach so that we could help to change the world, because she realized this changes our consciousness so deeply, and it's what's happening now. It's very emotional. What's happening now for someone like me that's been around for so long is that back then people thought you were strange, and right now, I mean, to get support, you had to be at a living food center, or a Living Foods workshop, go somewhere to feel it. Now you can feel the Living Food movement throughout the world, and it's like we can all feel each other. That's what's happening now because there's so many of you. And you young guys are just, it's amazing what you're doing. It's just amazing.
Aww.
So it's like we can feel each other's energy now because there's such a consciousness of raw food in the world now. And if it wasn't for you guys taking over and just going to the next level and the next level and the next level, this wouldn't be happening either. So her dreams come true.
Aww.
Her dreams have come true.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Joyce is about to cry right now. I think she is actually. And we are loving it here at Joyce's house. I mean, she like totally lives the lifestyle. You can see it in her skin and everything. We walk in here, she's like, "Oh, do you want some energy soup that Ann Wigmore makes? I can make it for you. Do you want me to soak nuts? Do you want me to do this? Do you want to do that?" We're very blessed. So, maybe I could ask you a couple more questions.
All right.
About Wigmore.
All right.
Is it true that Ann Wigmore like only ate energy soup? Like she was practically on a blended diet?
Pretty much. The last, I would say she switched energy soup somewhere in the late 80s, okay, early 90s, late 80s. And when she started, in the 80s, yeah, when she started working with energy soup, that's pretty much what she ate. That's it. And when we traveled together, she brought her blenders, and I would be in one room and her in the other, and she would say, "Come on over." You know, and she'd serve me energy soup, and we'd lay on the bed and watch old movies. She loved old movies, but yes, she ate energy soup.
So it took her some time to discover that, and so she was living off of just regular raw foods before that?
Well, basically what Dr. Ann was doing, the program back then was simply sunflower greens, buckwheat greens, sprouts, Rejuvelac. You didn't use onions, you didn't use garlic, you didn't use herbs, you didn't use seasoning of any kind. There was dulse once in a while. So wheatgrass, buckwheat juice, sprout juice. That was pretty much it. She didn't even do nuts very much.
Ah.
No.
And I heard that Ann Wigmore did enemas every single day.
Well, you know what? Oh, thank you. More juice. Wonderful.
Protege.
Oh,
Thank you, Angela.
This is great. I wonder what you were bringing these beautiful glasses out for. You're down. You know what? I didn't know that. You asked me that. You told me that the other day, and my experience is when she stayed here, I know that she did enemas once a day, sometimes twice a day, but I didn't know she did them all day long. I can tell you why I wouldn't think that she did, because whenever I was with her, she was always so busy and she never stopped moving, and I don't think she didn't disappear that often, you know, but I don't know.
I heard that she did it like once a day, maybe twice, not like all day long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yes,
that
I'm
is
sure
true.
she did one or two. I know she did at least one a day, and
One
I
a
wouldn't be surprised if she didn't do it in the morning and evening. And Dr. Ann used a 30-inch catheter. I don't know if
Whoa.
she did.
That's like when you take a enema and you put it like inside the colon?
Yeah, you lubricate the catheter, and it actually will slide all the way up around to the sigmoid colon. And you can't feel it though.
Right.
You know, and so, yeah, that's what and most people use 12, 15-inch ones, but she used a 30-inch.
Whoa.
So.
That's insane.
That's hardcore.
That is hardcore.
And I've used a 30-inch, but the strange thing about it is you can't feel it. It just slides right through there, and it's a little narrower than the ones you showed me. It's not that thick, so. And of course, being a colon hydrotherapist, I don't do enemas unless I'm traveling. And I think I really believe the more raw you are, it just depends, as a colon hydrotherapist, and you know that, because I know you're such an advocate of keeping the colon clean. It's a very important part of creating vibrant health. And if that's what they want is vibrant health, and not everybody wants to go to the highest level, but once you get there and once you feel it and once you taste it and you're there consciously, it's hard not to want to be there. Because I know.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again at the Raw Food World.